Guys, it's good to be with you, even though it's virtually. Um, Hi, guys, it's good to be with you, even though it's virtually. I was very impressed with your submissions thus far. Thank you very much for that. Lovely reading. Your marks will be up soon. Thank you for that. So, today we're going to talk about your final assessment, and I want to give you guys a kind of like a lecture. You know, I like to structure my activities so that you learn through that, but obviously there needs to be some background as to that. So today I'm going to quickly try and go through that via your assessment. I'll also be posting some examples of a good version of this and maybe a not so good version of this, so that you can see. So, as you might have guessed from your assignments, for your final assessment, what we've been working up to is you guys are, because I was hoping you guys could return so we could do a nice practical, but that was not to be, so we've had to adapt. So what you guys are going to do for this is you guys are going to do a lesson plan. Don't despair. It's a lesson plan that also has a creative element. So what you guys are going to do is you're going to do a lesson plan where you are going to do a reader's theatre. So basically you're going to write a tiny little play. It's going to be fun, I promise. It's going to be aimed at grade 3. So I say this in the notes as well. Please err on the side of it being too complex. I rather want something too complex than something too simple. I really don't want a simple story because in grade 3, kids are sophisticated. They understand the beginning, a middle, and an end. They understand the climax. So I really want that to be sophisticated, something that's matching that. Okay, so let me quickly go through the document that I'm going to post in your assignment because that's just easier to see. So for your final assessment in drama assignment, it will consist of 2 parts. You'll be handing in the following 2 documents: a lesson explaining how you'll be incorporating readers' theatre, and a script that your learners can perform that you've written. So let's quickly go through the lesson plan. And I know you guys ask me a lot about doing a lesson plan in drama, and the same things that I've been saying since the first year remain. It's always activity based, like those ones that we did in the first year. Obviously last year we couldn't, but those activities that I did in the first year, those soundscapes and things, that's a lesson plan in drama. It's never lecturing, it's never explaining something. You explain by doing. Okay, so I want a lesson plan, and this must be a lesson plan on your lesson plan template, and it must include a very detailed explanation with additional explanations at the end. I know that sounds weird, but the reason I'm stating it like that is your lesson plan template has like some basic info, but then at the bottom, then some learners add info on the pages that are attached, and that's what I want. I want a document attached with those detailed steps. Activity should be broken down into steps. So don't just tell me, then we're going to have a reader's theatre. I want you to explain to me how you're going to pick your learners. I want you to tell me, then we're going to go sit on the mat. I want it to be very detailed because drama is not lecturing. I can't be looking at content that much. I must understand, I must see that you understand how to present a lesson and a drama activity. And that I can only see by seeing whether you have thought through the steps. So have you thought about the size of your class? Have you thought about, but we'll get to the reader's theatre part. The next thing it has to be about drama, and it can include another integrated subject. So it can be about drama and science, drama and biology, drama and English. But this is very important. Drama must be central, and the dramatic element must be highlighted. So what do I mean by this? You can't just have a drama lesson presented, not a drama lesson, sorry. You can't just have the reader's theatre and the kids are reading and it's about biology, because that's a biology lesson. It's just that you're letting learners read a script. That's not drama. What makes it a good integrated lesson is that it's highlighting the biology and the drama. So there must be different characters, because in drama, my aims are for this lesson plan, are to measure my characters' voices, my characters' movement, etc. So it can't just be a focus on the other one. And that's a very tall order. If you think you can't do both, just make it a drama lesson, or maybe drama and language. That's maybe a good middle point. But it's very tough to do a good integrated lesson and to respect the drama in itself and the biology in itself. But it is possible, and it's good to do integrated lessons. But make sure that your drama doesn't disappear and just become, I'm sorry to put it this crassly, but almost like a prostitute for the other one. That you're just using the drama to teach the other thing. Yes, we use the drama, but the drama must also be taught in and of itself. Okay, so that's just my little bear bug. So let's quickly go on. Then the objectives and skills must be based on the following topic in caps. Classroom dramas illustrate different characters through vocal and physical characterization. So if you are looking for that caps to put in, you must fill that in. That's the one that you're going to use. It has to illustrate a way in which you are using the dramatic elements to enhance your teaching skills. So when you are doing readers theatre, it's not enough to just do readers theatre. You have to tell me what your focus is going to be during that readers theatre. So do you want the learners to become better at making character voices? Do you want them to become better at movement? What do you want? What is your focus? So that's what I mean there. The introduction and exposition both have to include a dramatic activity. So for instance, in the beginning, are you going to do breathing exercises with them, or are you going to do a voice exercise? So depending on what your focus is going to be, if you're going to measure movement, you should probably do a physical warm-up for your introduction activity. And if you're going to do a vocal type lesson, then you should probably do a vocal warm-up. Instructions should be clearly stated, and a rubric may be attached to assess the practical activity done in class. So this you can create on your own. If you're going to use it, then you can attach a little rubric that you'll be using to assess the kids. You're also welcome to look at my rubrics. There are many posted on Blackboard, and you can use them as a guide as well. Must be aimed at grade 3 and must be age appropriate. Now, readers theatre script. Before I go on to this, I just want to make sure that you guys understand what I mean when I say readers theatre. And I know I've already posted on that, but maybe some of you guys haven't accessed it because it wasn't for marks. I know some of you guys don't access info if it's not for marks. But readers theatre is basically a type of drama or theatre where the actors or performers, or in your case, learners, have a script in front of them that's printed out in front of them, and they are acting with each other whilst they're reading. So I will say, "Hi, Sandisiswe, how are you this morning?" Yo, I'm so tired today. While she's reading the script. And then I go, "Why are you tired?" "Yo, it's because I'm so old." Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's basically it's a little play, except for the kids haven't learned the words yet. They're using your script. What's wonderful about it is you get an immediate drama without even having to really practice that much. You can immediately have a little play. So it's a wonderful thing to do. I know the language lecturers encourage you guys to do this, and it's a wonderful thing to measure a lot of the things it's a lot of the dramatic elements. Okay, so that's what a readers theatre is. You present the kids with your script. Now, depending on the level of your class, maybe you first want them to read through the script. Then you'll assign who's who. So you are the policeman, you are the this, you are the that, and then every time they are speaking, it says policeman, and then their little piece of dialogue, and they read as they go along. Depending on the level of your learners' reading, you might have to let them go through it a few times. Ask them if there are words they don't understand, etc., etc. And you are also, please put these types of things in your lesson plan. I don't want to be too prescriptive because a lot of these things are dependent on the level of your learners. If they are a grade 3 class that reads brilliantly, you just give it to them, and you almost always you'd ask them to first, maybe let's read it on our own. Or if you want them to do what we call a cold read, so put that in your lesson plan, the one you're choosing. Are you wanting them to first read it themselves, or are you wanting them to do a cold read? A cold read means they just get the script and they have to read immediately. If you're wanting them to do a cold read, you'll have to put the characters in your script and a little description of who they are. So for instance, grandmother, very old, nice lady, something like that. Or crocodile, angry at the world with a gruffy voice. So give them something that they can do so that everyone doesn't sound the same. Okay, so that's a basic overview. Script should be between 7 and 15 minutes long. You can time your scripts by reading it aloud. Scripts have to have a strong story. This is so important. I see this so often that you guys will not really have a story. It'll be people talking about themselves, but nothing's happening. So make sure that there's something happening. As we've been talking about since first year, that thing about, you guys know this, we've talked about this so much, the inciting incident, the climax, and the resolution. There has to be something that happens. Characters can't just sit and talk about, for instance, a biological concept if you're wanting them to learn biology. They have to be part of a story with a beginning, a middle, and an end. That's what I'm looking for here. Do you by now understand a beginning, a middle, and an end? Your scripts have to be complex enough for a grade 3, as I've said before. Rather make it more complicated than overly simple. So I'll have more mercy for someone who has written something that's maybe a little bit too complex for grade 3 than someone who has just done something very simple. Said, the little ducky goes to the pond, she buys, that isn't sufficient for grade 3, they're going to get bored. Now, fourth, the main aim of the lesson is for them to play different characters so that your script should have many different characters with the potential to do different voices and physical movements. If you are making everyone mice, or everyone is, the same, they don't have a lot of opportunity to differentiate themselves. You want them to be different. So you want some old characters, you want some young characters, you want ones with different voices, or a big monster, so think different characters in your story, that everyone isn't the same. And try to steer clear from, just a little family. Try and make it more interesting than that. Okay. The main aim of the lesson is I will be looking especially at whether you understand the hero's journey with the inciting incident. We've already spoken about this. And then I will be putting these through plagiarism checks. So please don't fall into the trap of plagiarizing something from the internet. I will be giving 0s if you are sending in a film script or anything like that. This has to be your own story. You can have as many different characters as you'd like. Options. Okay, so here I just wanted to do a quick word on this. And this is also just in terms of speaking to you guys about, how to do an effective drama lesson. So, here is my advice. You have to first think, do I want the whole class to do this from the beginning, or do I want a smaller group? I think the easier option usually is to do a smaller group. And then what you can maybe do is you can say, like I always do with you in class when we were still together, is you guys go rehearse your thing and then I'll see the first group. Drama always works like that. There's always a rotational thing and always a big emphasis on kids working on their own. So you can, for instance, have the same story, but you divide say you have a class of 30, then you can divide them up into 10 characters, and they have to go practice. So that's the first option. So you see the first group and the rest can practice. Then you see the second group, and then you can maybe give feedback to the first group, how they can improve. Then, so there's that rotational thing that we had in class. I don't even know if you guys can remember that. But that's usually how a drama lesson functions well if you have quite a complex activity. Second thing, what you can do, if you want to do your whole class, which is kind of crazy, but kind of fabulous, then you need to, in your script, put in a lot of movement. So you kind of have to cheat this a little bit. So you will, for instance, say, there is a group of, and I know this is the stereotype about drama, a group of trees blowing in the wind. So what are you going to measure? You're measuring, can they maybe do a soundscape? You're measuring, can they do movement? But in your script, this is incredibly important. Please do this. Remember to put in your actions. So for instance, what will a piece of dialogue look like? It will say, Marina, I'm going to go to the shops. And then you can put in a little piece of activity. She takes her handbag and shuffles off to the shops. So you don't have to do this for every single character. You'll get an idea of this, but try to put that in, especially if you maybe choose to focus on movement. If that's interesting for you, maybe you're from a dancing background. The trees, the wind blew through the trees, and then you maybe have a group of learners who are the trees. Then they can all go to the side, for that, and maybe another group goes to the side like that. Maybe the wind was howling through the trees. Then they have to kind of come up with those sounds and make those things. So yes, that's an option for Readers Theatre. The reason I'm talking about the trees is then you have a group. Then you can say 10 of you guys are in the bushes, having to make a soundscape. And that's quite a complex task. It's not like they're just standing there like, the stereotypical tree. They have to make a soundscape. There's an activity. There is some qualitative stuff. Obviously, you don't get as much of the reading theatre. But if it's not, for instance, if you wanted to integrate drama and language, I wouldn't do the big group. Then I'd rather do the smaller groups where everyone gets an opportunity to speak. This larger one is maybe if it's more of a drama lesson. So there are people speaking in terms of the Readers Theatre, but you are able to include everyone by putting them in bigger groups, and then your whole class can participate. If you're going to do that, please outline that for me. So in your lesson plan, say it's going to be whole or it's not going to be whole, etc., etc. Okay, that's about it. I'll also be posting some information about what I thought was a good Readers Theatre and what I thought was not such a good one. The first one I'm going to be posting is one. What bothered me about this one was that the teacher had like a little slideshow PowerPoint explaining Readers Theatre. And we never really want to do that in drama. You rather want to get the kids excited, you want to get them up, and practicing their bodies, practicing their instruments. You don't want to give them a little lecture. That's never a good thing in drama. The good ones are where the teachers start immediately with the activity. So don't think you're going to impress me with a slideshow or with anything like that. You'll impress me with a well thought out activity. It must be activity based. Drum means to do. So always remember that when you're doing your lesson plans. I know I'm being vague, but I rather want you guys to base your lesson plan and to change and adapt your lesson plan according to the size and the ability of your classroom than having a very rigid structure for me and complying with that. At a third year level, I want you guys to be able to adapt your things, and I know that you guys are more than capable. You're a very strong group, so I really look forward to your work. Use this opportunity to be creative. Really think of stories. Think maybe of something your grand told you, weird fairy tales. You are very welcome to use kind of classic fairy tales, not films, and to adapt them. So Rapunzel in the Township, or I don't know, Cinderella in the Ghetto, or what am I thinking about? Cinderella in Constantia, or whatever that means, or Canal Walk, or, So find different ways and interesting ways to do it. And last note that I almost forgot, most important, there has to be fantastic humor. Grade 3, I'm wanting humor, and I'm wanting an opportunity for physical humor. jumped over the hoop. Yeah. So don't make it too serious. I know sometimes you guys go into this inspirational mode, which is fantastic, but for grade 3, I want you to kind of stick with some humor, and to make an interesting story. Think about your grade 3 self. What would you have liked? That's what it is. Have a wonderful week, and I'll be posting the date and everything like that on there. All the best of luck with this, and I'll also be sending you guys updates and some tips.